When two beachcombers found a message in a bottle, the note inside gave a rare glimpse into the past.
Before we begin, do us a favor and click that like button. Also subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to be inspired by these inspiring stories every day.
Candy and Jim Duke stroll along the Padre National Island seashore, and something catches their gaze. What others may have dismissed as a regular old bottle discarded on the beach draws the couple in. That's because they noticed it has a message inside, inviting them to open the container. And when they do, they can't believe what's inside. Most Saturday mornings find Candy and Jim at the beach. The Corpus Christi, Texas-based pair spent that day perusing the sand along the Padre Island National Seashore. Their expeditions rewarded them with natural treasures, including sea glass and bottles, the latter of which they used to decorate their backyard fence. Regular beachcombers, Candy and Jim often shared their coastal findings with their Facebook friends. But on January 19, 2019, they felt they had a totally different item to show to their followers. So they went on Facebook Live to share the thrill of discovery they felt about the object that had caught their eye that morning. At that point, Candy and Jim knew very little about the bottle they'd uncovered. She showed it to the camera and described it as best she could, saying, "The bottle's just a standard old white bottle. It has a cork in the top." But perhaps the most compelling visual detail was the instructions visible from the outside. So, Candy and Jim examined the bottle and all of its outward-facing details before cracking it open. They also shared that it had a number inscribed on it, 002338. This, plus the break bottle instructions, had understandably sparked the couple's curiosity, according to Candy. She added, "We just wanted to be able to share with all of you who follow us and all of our treasures that we find." With that, Candy said, "I'm going to let Jim open this little treasure." She handed the bottle over to her husband, who had brought a wine bottle opener. It made sense, considering the container had been corked and closed. But opening the bottle wouldn't be as straightforward as it first seemed. Candy suggested to Jim, "Maybe you need to stand up and put pressure behind it." But rising from his seat did little to help Jim get the wine bottle opener to work. He twisted it all the way into the rubber stopper and started to press down on the wings, a move that would release the cork from any normal wine bottle. When the cork wouldn't budge, Jim came up with a second plan of attack. He said he would twist the wine opener some more to see if he could pull the cork out himself. That method proved somewhat successful as pieces of the cork started to break off. Still, most of the stopper remained firmly in place. But Jim had a game plan for removing the letter from the bottle. He would pull the papers close enough to where he could get them with tweezers. As he worked, Candy began to speculate what the message could possibly have to say, and she grew excited as she imagined the possibilities for her and her husband. In response to that prediction, Jim joked that a South Texas message in a bottle would probably reward them with a free taco somewhere. Of course, the only way to find out was to retrieve the roll of paper from the bottle, and Candy wanted her turn at trying to remove the message. At first, Candy wielded the ice pick to pull the letter closer to the neck of the bottle. Jim suggested she then try the tweezers to get the paper all the way out, but the tiny pincers ripped a bit off the letter. Watching his wife's efforts, Jim quipped, "You can see this is not staged." Nearly 9 minutes into the video and still no letter in hand, Candy wondered if the message in the bottle would be worth all of this. But just seconds after she made that statement, the letter started to give way. She slowly slid out the neck of the bottle, finding it to be really thick paper. Next, Candy got the contents of the message. It read, "Important. This bottle is one of a series released at known locations in the Gulf of Mexico by scientists from the Galveston Botanical Laboratories of the U.S. Bureau of Commercial Fisheries." Of course, a government agency wasn't releasing bottles into the water just for the fun of it. The NOAA had taken the place of the U.S. Bureau of Commercial Fisheries, the organization who wrote the message that Candy and Jim had found. And the former knew precisely when and how many bottles had been deployed. In a feature story on their website, they further explained the bygone project. The February 2019 article from the NOAA explained that Candy and Jim's bottle was one of 7,863 that had been deployed in the northwest corner of the Gulf of Mexico. Surprisingly, scientists had released the bottles between February 1962 and December 1963. Meaning the Corpus Christi couple had found theirs more than 50 years after the experiment was initiated. For many years, the message-in-a-bottle technique proved the best way for fishermen to track ocean currents. As such, the containers they set to sea continue to wash up on shore decades after hitting the waves. And Candy and Jim aren't the only ones to have found them either. In one example, a man found a scientific message in a bottle on the idyllic coast along Martha's Vineyard. The letter inside indicated that the container was part of a study by the Coast and Geodetic Survey, which had been deploying glass bottles to trace ocean currents since the mid-19th century. The Coast and Geodetic Survey launched its last set of bottles in 1966, when Lyndon B. Johnson served as president and the Beatles' John Lennon declared the group more popular than Jesus. One container remained at sea for 47 years after that, washing up 300 miles away from its point of deployment on the Aleutian Islands, which dot the northern Pacific Ocean between Alaska and Russia. More than 50 years after the experiment commenced, Candy and Jim returned the postcard that came with their message in the bottle. They filled out the required information, their names, address, and the place where they found the glass container. Then they sent the form back to the now NOAA via snail mail. Returning the bottle came with a reward, according to the enclosed letter. On her Facebook Live broadcast, Candy giggled as she read back that she would earn 50 cents for sending the tracking information back to the now NOAA. So once they received their submission, the agency promised Candy a reward. Unfortunately, it wouldn't be a large amount of money, nothing like the free cruise vacation that Candy had initially hoped to find inside the message in a bottle. Instead, Johnson said that he offered her and Jim their half-dollar reward, which would cost 55 cents to ship it and $3 to print on a convenience check. In the end, it seems they declined their prize, which makes sense considering Candy already called this one-of-a-kind find a wonderful treasure when she opened it. The world is filled with stories going viral every single day. But how many of these sites can you actually follow? We understand that your day should start with positive stories, stories that resonate with you. And so we started JoJo Stories. Our mission is to create meaningful stories that cover everything from animals to anthropology, history to environment and lifestyle. The kind of content you read on our site will be one you'll want to share with your family and friends. We hope you'll join our growing family and be part of our community. Welcome to JoJo Stories, jojostories.com.